I'm really very proud and happy today, after 15 years of Falcon Chapter born. I'm proud because of two issues. One of the issues that I am currently the DRC, Director and Regional Chair of Region at Large, and I'm one of this team, I'm one of this family, as Karen said. I'm very honorable to be learned all about ASHRAE in this chapter. Our chapter, just a brief about it, we have some of the founders here in this room. We have Bassam Al-Assad, Basil Ambari, and of course the support was from Samir Tarabulsi, our DRC that time. In 2003, December, the chapter has been formulated officially, and that time it was the Gulf area, I mean, including in the chapter, Qatar and Bahrain were there. After that, they separated, they made us individual chapters, but still, Falcon Chapter is a leader in the region. Falcon Chapter is the biggest chapter as a number of members, second biggest out of USA, and we have a lot, above 500 if I'm not wrong. We have all the professional people, all experts from different segments, from the industry, academia, and all people who's helping the community here. In Falcon Chapter, actually, we start strong, and the success that we continue strong. Till now, Falcon Chapter, one of the most active chapters, not only in region at large, even all over the world. The team which is here, mix between the new generation, the young people, and the old people, let us say the experts, not the old people. In this room also we have most of the past presidents of Falcon Chapter, except two who's not currently in the country. All the others are here, and we'll introduce them later today. I was one of the past presidents. I was honored to be the CRC General Chair in 2011. Also, I want to tell you that Falcon Chapter hosts the CRC 2 times, one in 2006, led by my friend and brother Basil Ambari, and it was in a very short notice, in just few months, only 3 months has been done, and in 2011. Falcon Chapter having and continue maintaining the events and seminars to disseminate the knowledge to the community and to the engineers. We have almost every month 1 or 2 seminars, workshops, and different things. Moreover, a couple of years ago, the Global Training Center, which is first time out of USA, has been established in Dubai, which has been supported by the members and the BOG of Falcon Chapter. I'd like to thank all the BOG. Karen give some names who make this event, but actually the whole team, even the people who's in the team now or previously were in the team, they did tremendous efforts to achieve this success. I don't want to take much from your time because we have a great people to talk today. We have our Vice President, Mr. Farouk Mahbub here. We have our MCR, Mr. Richie Metal. We have some officers, Adiba from the SRC1 chair. We have from the region some officers. We have a lot of leaders in this room. As I said, it is a very wonderful event to celebrate the 15 years and to see each other. Some of the people, we did not see them since a long time. So I'd like to thank everyone who shared to make the success of Falcon Chapter in the past and now. And thank you for supporting me to be the DRC and continuing supporting me. I'll not talk about region at large now because today I'm celebrating only Falcon Chapter, so I am only Falcon Chapter. Thank you for everyone. Thanks for your coming. And I wish that you will spend a good night today.
Dr. Ahmed Allah, DRC region at large, and one of the great personalities of the Falcon Chapter, Mr. Liju Thomas, President of the Falcon Chapter, the officers of the Board of Governors of the Falcon Chapter, our past presidents of the Falcon Chapter who gave it strength over the years, distinguished guests. Among our distinguished guests, I see Mr. Tariq Al-Yasi and Mr. Samer from Empower, who've always supported us. Thank you for attending our function this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, it's indeed a great honor and a privilege to be here tonight among my ASHRAE family, because in ASHRAE, we're really a family. And this is my family of the Falcon Chapter. As Dr. Allah pointed out, and I would like to reinforce this, the Falcon Chapter is a very distinguished chapter of ASHRAE. It's no ordinary chapter, and it's a distinguished chapter of region at large. It has produced from its volunteers much leadership for region at large and for ASHRAE in the past and at the present time. I'm especially proud of my dear brother, Dr. Allah, who's doing such a fine job of leading our region, and his latest initiative of having regional distinguished lecturers who will be available for all the chapters is a visionary step from which we will all benefit greatly. I would like a round of applause for Dr. Allah, please. The organization of the CRCs, which were arranged by the Falcon Chapter, by Brother Basil, and someone else whose name slips my mind at this moment, were both outstandingly well organized. They ran like clockwork, and that is the sign of a great chapter. I have had in the past the pleasure of attending the Board of Governors meeting of the Falcon Chapter, and I've always been impressed by the dedication of its members and their enthusiasm for ASHRAE. We are now at a time of great change in our industry, with the coming of the Internet of Things, with the coming of data analytics, the coming of the smart grid, coming of manufactured buildings, even 3D printed buildings. And so many areas of our industry are rapidly changing. With the coming of electric automobiles alone, the electrical designs of buildings and houses will change, the loads will change. So ASHRAE, your society, is at the forefront of this coming revolution. I'm going to share with you tonight some of the things that we are working on. We're going to be rolling out our new strategic plan for the years 2019 to 24, which will set our focus and goals for the coming 5 years. The plan has been 2 years in the making, and ASHRAE is foreseeing the events that are coming, and the plan is built around what we perceive to be the future of the industry and our society. And this plan is expected to be rolled out at the summer meeting in Kansas City and go into operation on July 1. As you know, we're going to a new headquarters building in October 2020. The headquarters is nearly double the size of our present headquarters, and it will showcase the latest HV and ACR technology and is being designed for net zero energy efficiency. Now, this is an existing building which is being retrofitted and modified as ASHRAE headquarters, and we intend to demonstrate that existing buildings can be net zero ready, because out of the building stock of the world, 97% of our buildings are already built. So if we're just looking to new buildings to implement ideas, that is not going to achieve the objectives. We have to turn a focus somewhere on the buildings which are existing, and we hope that our new headquarters will be one example of ASHRAE leading the way. So our current theme for this society year, which Sheila Hayter would have spoken more about, and unfortunately she missed being here this evening and asked me to convey her apologies because her flight from Houston to Dubai was so long delayed that she would have arrived here after midnight, so it was really no way that she could be here. But her theme, Building Our New Energy Future, is the integration of buildings in the smart grid era. We're going to see buildings which borrow energy from the building next door, which transfer to the grid. So all kinds of dynamics are at play. And ASHRAE has a new publication out on the smart grid, and it talks about the interaction and the challenges and opportunities for designing grid-responsive buildings within the changing energy sector. I suggest, this is a free download, that you take advantage and spend a few minutes going through it. It's only about 23, 24 pages. And we hope at some point that Sheila will be able to come by and talk more on this subject. Now, in the coming year, our new focus is on operational excellence, as related to buildings in two specific areas. One is energy performance, and one is occupant satisfaction. Because an excellently operated building is not only a building which is efficiently operated in terms of engineering, but it is also a building which makes the people work excellently. So it must satisfy the occupants. So we're looking at that as our society theme for the next year. And President-elect Daryl Boyce, who will assume the presidency on July 1, is very focused on this. And hopefully in the coming year, Dr. Allah will arrange for him perhaps to come and speak on this subject in Dubai. We have been pursuing certification programs, and these certification programs help engineers, ASHRAE members or non-members, to have their qualifications established. So our latest certification is called Certified HVAC Designer. So if somebody sits for an examination for a certified HVAC designer and he passes that examination, he will be able to write ASHRAE Certified HVAC Designer. And I think it'll go a long way towards his professional development, and it'll go a long way in his career and his performance. So that's an area we're pushing more and more certifications for our members. ASHRAE has launched the ASHRAE 365 app, and this app has already 10,000 users. It provides instant access to standards, to guidelines, to continuing education, to industry jobs, to events, conference details, and quick access to all of ASHRAE's social media platforms. And I urge you to download the ASHRAE 365 app and to use it. ASHRAE has always followed a policy of collaboration with our industry partners. And this collaboration spans many organizations. ASHRAE is partnering with the USGBC, it is partnering with SMACNA, it is partnering with HRI, and at this point, one of our best partnerships, or great partnerships, is with UNEP in the field of refrigerants and their use in all these countries. We have a great partnership with Empower in the field of district cooling. And I see Mr. Ayman Al-Talouni and Mr. Tariq Al-Yasi, and I'd like to say thank you, gentlemen, for your support once again. We continue to sign new partnerships For a long time, the relationship between architects and engineers is always one which is viewed differently from both sides. So ASHRAE has signed MOUs with the AIA, which is the American Institute of Architects, with the American Society of Plumbing Engineers, with the International Facilities Management Association, which will play a key role when we come to the subject of operational excellence with facility management engineers, and various societies, engineering societies around the world, the latest being the Vietnam Society of Air Conditioning and Refrigeration. I must mention here that our Global Learning Center in Dubai, which Aya heads, and she's here at this table, and I would like to applaud her and kudos to you for doing a great job. We had our district cooling workshop supported by Empower, and we had tremendous feedback on its success. And the Global Learning Center continues to grow from strength to strength. And Aya and Steve Comstock, who sits in Brussels, all credit to you folks for that. Thank you. Give a big hand to Aya. So again, I'd like to thank the Falcon Chapter. I'd like to thank the sponsors, and I would like to wish you great success in the years ahead. I'm sure you'll go from strength to strength. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends, ASHRAE colleagues, distinguished guests. It's given me a great pleasure to be here with you tonight. I would like to start by congratulating the Falcon Chapter for the celebrating and memorizing this 15th anniversary of the establishment of inauguration of the chapter. And I would like first to also to convey to you the best wishes and greetings from the United Nations Environment Programme and all its staff, including the regional director and representative in West Asia. Celebrating an anniversary usually brings a lot of memories, and I would like to use these memories to pick up some of the key messages and lessons learned from the Falcon Chapter experience. Being very close to the Falcon Chapter, at one point of time I belonged to the Falcon Chapter as an ASHRAE member, and being also very close in the collaboration between ASHRAE and UNEP, I have witnessed many achievements and milestones in the history of this Falcon Chapter, despite it's only 15 years, but I think they have made a big impact and influence to the operation and management of the ASHRAE chapters in region at large in particular. The first lesson is leading by example. If we look at the chapter since it started and integrated, it has set the bar high in terms of how a chapter should operate. It presented a very good example in terms of the institutional setup, committees, operation, successful implementation of activities, engagement with the governments and local stakeholders. And that's why we are using always the Falcon Chapter to help other smaller chapters and newly established chapters within region at large. So congratulations for being leading from day one and from starting this. And I think this is a good also lesson for other chapters in other regions and continents within region at large that may play such a role, especially in big countries. The second message is inspiring and motivation. We have seen over the history many opportunities where chapters can just work and operate on a normal business, using business as usual, inviting distinguished lectures, doing some events and functions in evenings, and that's it. But we are seeing some chapters like the Falcon Chapter who can take the lead and being innovative in signing some innovative agreements, establish some kind of partnership with different entities inside the country or even at the regional level. I would like to bring to the memory of those who were not with us here 15 years back that the ASHRAE UNEP collaboration actually started from here, from Emirates. I'm not going to talk about it because I know Bassam would like to talk about this. But because of this enlightened vision of some of the key officers in the Falcon Chapter, they picked up the idea And we established the first collaboration agreement between UNEP and ASHRAE in 2005. And it was only at the regional level. And 2 years later, it became a global agreement between UNEP and ASHRAE at the global level. And today, we have a lot of products which is contributing to the government's support to the compliance with the Montreal Protocol, and we are starting to even engage outside the Montreal Protocol. Just recently, ASHRAE signed the pledge to be part of the District Energy Initiative in cities, the UNEP UN Environment District Energy Initiatives in cities. ASHRAE also just recently joined the recently initiated Cooling Coalition, Global Cooling Coalition, led by several international partners, including the government of Denmark, the Sustainable for Energy and others, and also hosted by the UN Environment. So ASHRAE is taking a lead and motivating the work around the globe in different areas. The last thing and the last message I would like to share with you from the experience in the Falcon chapter and in cooperation with ASHRAE is picking up the opportunities. There's a lot of emerging issues and dynamics happening in the world. And we are looking always at as an ASHRAE members and chapters from the lens of engineering and from the lens of practitioners in the field. But actually being involved and partnering with other international bodies, which is not engineering like the UN, opening another lens from the from the political perspective, and now ASHRAE, and through the collaboration with UNEP, we are trying to build a link with what we call the Sustainable Development Goals, because this is the language where the government understands. This is the language where the policymaker can connect your work to their indicators and to their actual strategies and development plan. And I can see that actually within the last 15 years, started to move from being a scientific society, originally American society, to be a real global society and having a big influence in many countries around the world. So I will stop at this point, and I would like to thank a lot all who were being part of this journey. I don't want to mention names, but I cannot help it by mentioning especially those who were part of the continuous leading team and group between ASHRAE and the UN Environment. I will start by Jeff Littleton, Steve Comstock, and Walid Shakron in particular. These three, and although they are not here with us, but I would like to give them a round of applause for their contribution to the work. And of course, those who are been pioneer in the beginning, since the beginning, like Dr. Ahmed Allah, Mr. Farouk Mahbub, Mr. Basel Ambari, Mr. Samir Tarabulsi, Mr. Bassam Al-Assad, all those, I don't want to leave some names, but those I can see them, and I used to see them since 15 years, pushing for such collaboration and making sure that we have a successful way forward to support government and to support the society as well as the profession. Thanks again for the opportunity to be here with you today. I really enjoy being an ASHRAE member as collaborating with ASHRAE from outside ASHRAE. Thank you so much.
I would like to call Li Zhu, our current ASHRAE Falcon Chapter President, to the stage so you can say a few words.
Thank you, Karen. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for being here. I believe you are enjoying the food. I love the mic, that's why I'm away from the podium, because let the lady be there so I can move around and talk a bit. All I want to say is thank you very much for coming here. You have heard enough of ASHRAE. I will not speak about ASHRAE anymore, because you have heard about ASHRAE enough and you know ASHRAE. But everyone who is here present is a giver to ASHRAE. Everyone has given something to ASHRAE in one form or other, because without that, Falcon chapter wouldn't have been in existence. Because unless and until we start giving freely, we are no more humans, we are just machines. If we can't give freely, we are just machines, we are not humans. As you are aware, ASHRAE is a voluntary organization, and all the people who have contributed to ASHRAE have actually contributed something to humanity. In India, we use an example. When a candle lights another candle, the first candle doesn't lose anything. But it lights another candle, and it increases the brightness in the room. It takes away the darkness. That's precisely what the presidents and the members of ASHRAE have done in the past. You know, when back in 2003, when Mr. Basil, Mr. Bassam, Mr. Samir, Mr. Girish, when they, gathered together and said, let's start a chapter here. The whole intention was to give a little more light to the engineering community. Because when it started back in 2003, it was named Emirates Falcon Chapter. As Dr. Ala mentioned, it covered UAE, Oman, Qatar, and Bahrain. And later on, of course, it grew. Oman is still with UAE. Qatar and Bahrain started their own chapter. They have their own light now. But the light which was lit by these gentlemen are still, kept alive. The ball which they kicked is still keep going. And trust me, without the support of everyone in the room, we wouldn't have gained such a momentum. Because that momentum is what keeps it going. And I am 100% sure this ball will keep rolling into newer heights and the light will shine brighter and brighter. We would like to thank everyone, and we would like to thank the past presidents here and to honor them for being there and to have started the small light, which is bright enough. And with the support of all of you, it will keep going brighter. Thank you very much. Mr. Samir, we would like to hear something from you first before we, please, because...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first name Vice President Mr. Farouk, DRC Dr. Ala, President of the chapter, Falcon Chapter Lijou, and I'd like to also welcome all who are present here. Among them are past presidents who have served the chapter. And I was asked to give, in 2-3 minutes, words of what I know of the chapter. What was mentioned so far lacks a part which is prior to the formation of the chapter officially in the year 2003. Before that, there was at the society something called International Committee, and I was responsible for the Middle East region. And with that, I have addressed individual member of the society who lives in this particular region with a note suggesting for them to come together and form the chapter. And it did not take much time until found out that yes, there are people interested in moving forward with that chapter. And it was the first president, Mr. Bassam al-Assad, who is among us today, followed by the other leaders you will talk about later. But one thing I would like to point out, in the second term for Mr. Basil Ambari, who served as a president for this chapter, it was in the year 2006, and I all the time I'd like to share with you this piece of information. 2006, Lebanon was on the agenda to host a CRC for the entire region. And it was scheduled to be end of September. In August 6, warring activities took place in Lebanon, closing the airport, kept receiving pressure from the society to see what to do. You cannot say what you expect to do when you are in war and you don't know what's going to end. So I called my friend Basil at the time. I said, well, we are moving with the organization of this chapter, with this CRC, but unfortunately, we cannot make it by the end of September. Can you take over? He said, no, I cannot. I said, no, it will not take you much, and I facilitated, make it easy for him to accept that. And he actually did take the initiative, and the chapter was hosting the CRC, a very successful event. But look what he said afterwards. He said, Samir lied to me. He said, there is no much time needed for the organization, but they spend lots of time. Thank you so much, Basil, for that. One more point, and this is from out of my experience all over in forming chapters, you need to find group, say 2 or 3, who have the passion, not only being a member, not only being interested, but should have the passion. And I correlate the passion to form a chapter like having the flame to make a fire. If you don't have the flame, the fire will not exist. So likewise, we need members who have the passion, and as long as the chapter in Dubai and Emirates are having it, I have no doubt that the process will continue smoothly and successfully. Good luck for you in the future. Thank you very much for the previous and the past presidents, and I'm always happy to be here in my second country, the Emirates. Thank you.
Thank you. Special thanks to Mr. Bassam. He flew in from Canada.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I always say I'm a RAL member at heart, and basically I'm a Falcon member at heart. I just want to take you down through memory lane when we started. When Samir came to us in 2003, we had all the right elements really lined up for us. We had members, we had good members who were willing to work, and we had a booming economy with innovation, where innovation was needed, and people wanted to learn about that. But there were also challenges, and the challenges also, these challenges drove us gave us the impetus to start this chapter. I still remember one time we had an iftar dinner on the board of the creek, and there a young engineer walked to us and asked us if we can help him to identify the remaining CFC chillers that are in the region. This engineer, you've heard them before, is Engineer Ayman al-Taluni. And out of that was born this partnership with ASHRAE. But apart from that, there was the BACnet group that was born from ASHRAE. There was the Emirates Green Building Council, where the ASHRAE members, actually the Falcon members, helped start. So out of those challenges, out of those early years, there was a lot to be achieved. And we are all proud of it. We're proud of the Learning Center. We're proud also of the global presence in Brussels. And I encourage you all to think globally. ASHRAE needs your support to be a global organization. There are good ASHRAE standards, there are good ASHRAE educational material, but they need to be supported, and your support is crucial. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you again for having me here.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be standing here. I never thought when we started the chapter 15 years ago, I never thought that I would be standing here and celebrating this memorable event. Thanks to Liju and his team and the BOG member of the Falcon Chapter for organizing such a very nice event. I think everybody had talked about ASHRAE Chapter, Falcon Chapter, and ASHRAE. But I always ask myself, what does ASHRAE do for me? This is what I would like to really highlight. When I started my career, when I was introduced to ASHRAE, I was introduced to ASHRAE as a student. I took an HVAC course at the university, and my textbook was the ASHRAE Fundamental. And that was my first introduction to ASHRAE. And since then, I have been in love with ASHRAE and what ASHRAE can do for me and what I can do for ASHRAE. Really, ASHRAE guided my career into what I wanted to be and where I am today. I owe it to ASHRAE. This is why I feel that I have to contribute to ASHRAE, not only my time and effort to the chapters, but also in research promotions, money that can support the research promotion, which is very, very important. If you take an ASHRAE fundamental or you take an ASHRAE guideline and you just blank out some of the pages, then you will not have any guidelines. And those pages are filled because of the donations and the promotions that the company gives, the individual gives to the research promotion, which is very important. I'm an honor to be a part of ASHRAE, and I would like to correct Samir about the CRC. He did not lie to me. I think I knew how much it would take to organize the CRC. Normally, organizing the CRC, it takes almost eight months to organize a CRC. It was a challenge. It was not done by myself. I cannot take all the credit. My president-elect was Girish Hira at that time, and we had wonderful BOG members who had put their efforts. We used to meet in coffee shops. Really, we did not have a base to organize such an event. We used to meet in coffee shops and even Batuta Mall, I still remember that, maybe twice a week to organize such an event. And I really thank you very much, and I'm pleased. I feel very good that the momentum of ASHRAE Falcon Chapter keeps on growing. And we owe it all to the leaders of ASHRAE, to the president of ASHRAE, and also we owe it to the mentors of ASHRAE. The Vice President Farouk Mahmoud has been a mentor to everybody who's involved with ASHRAE. And thank you very much.
Here comes Mr. Girish, the man with the money. Whenever the Falcon chapter has gone low in funds, we go to him and ask him to write a blank check. And he has done. Thank you.
Well, if I did give a blank check, it's not that I am aware of. So the blank check I gave him did not even have my say.
It didn't bounce, it's okay.
I want to tell a small story on how I got inducted in ASHRAE. There were only 4 of us that used to meet for the Ibn Battuta meetings. There was Bassam, Basil, me, and Imad. After meeting for about 3 to 4 years, Imad came to me and said, Girish, we would like you to be the next president. I said, Imad, there's a very small issue. He goes, what is it? I said, I cannot be the president. He said, why not? He said, because I'm not a mechanical engineer. My background is in finance. So you can't have an MBA leading a mechanical engineering association. And then I actually withdrew my name, but then Bassam, Basil, and Imad were very nice enough, and they pushed me to be the next ASHRAE, president. I had huge shoes to fill. Bassam was the president for 2 years, Basil for 2. I said, I will be the president, but only on one condition, that I can be a president just for 1 year. And they agreed. I was very lucky. It was the year of the boom, 07 to 08. And because of the boom, the membership grew from 180 to 480 in that 1 year. So we tripled in size in 1 year. Thanks to all of you. One thing I would really recommend, which I found the biggest value add from ASHRAE, is for all the members to attend the regional event, which happens in the third quarter of every year. You will meet a lot of ASHRAE members from around the region, from Greece to South Africa, India, Pakistan. I know a lot of the other chapters bring a lot of members, and I think this is something which all of the Emirates members would really enjoy. I would like to thank you all for allowing me to serve you a long time ago, and attending the event here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, all the leaders here. I mean, all the ASHRAE leaders and ASHRAE members, society. I have seen, you can say, take on the mantle from Yusuf, of course, but it all started from Girish. At those time, Girish was there supporting the ASHRAE Falcon Chapter. And he was there at that point of time when I became the president also. I must say that when Girish, he mentioned the number was around 450, I remember. Under my leadership, it went almost touched to 650, if I remember. At that time, I'm sorry to say that, we have lost the first lady president, Lynn Billinger, at that time. Lynn was the global president at that time. I met her personally in Egypt, and we were, ASHRAE Falcon Chapter was awarded the award for having the highest growth in terms of membership. I remember that days, and we also thank that, Lynn has been that time very much mentor for everybody. On the other side of it, during my time at least, there were certain developments which has happened. One of them which I recognize is Manipal University. We started off with the student chapter committee, I remember, and now it has grown to almost 20 people, I remember that. So that was one of those things, and also I was part of the event which happened in Cairo. So there are several things which has developed itself, and I started off as, like anybody else as in this whole thing is as a BOG member. I started off as a district cooling committee member, and then grew myself to vice president and the president. So all I can say to young members here is give your time, give yourself, because whatever we learn from the industry, it's good that we give it back. And at any point of time, even now I would say that anybody requires any type of technical leadership speeches or technical things, there are a lot of people around in this room who can deliver. So please let us involve ourselves and then give it back to the society, because this is the time to give back to the society which has given us so much for developing the HVACR industry. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This is me again. I don't want to make you bored from me again. But anyway, I enjoyed the 2 years which I was president of the chapter because of one issue. The strength of Falcon Chapter is the team. And the good thing or the successful point of Falcon Chapter, the new blood coming every year with the new people, much stronger than the other people, and the challenge between them to be best and better to raise the bar to the top, actually. The current team who's doing now, you see they succeed to make today's event. They succeed to make a lot of good things, and they are mentors for each other. This is also one of the good things. I mean, some people were here a few years ago, they are not anymore in the team, but they teach the new people teaching the newer people, etc. So, and we have one example here, Rajat. He was CTTC chair for some years. He made a tremendous effort, marvelous job. The successor of him, he did the same, following the same line. People before him was doing the same. So it is Falcon Chapter, always a role model for all the chapters. I'm very proud to be part of this. Again, because of Falcon Chapter, I have been promoted to be a DRC. So thanks to all the members, thanks to all the guests. Thanks for your support, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Now, of course, good evening, everybody. And I was listening to each of these beautiful speeches. Every time I wanted to make up my statement, I see somebody else did better than I. So I'm confused. I don't know what to say. But I'll tell you one thing in here. When I joined the Board of Governors of the Falcon Chapter in 2008, I was struck by the quality of people, members. They have showed excellent dedication, honesty, integrity, a willingness to work, to get together, to volunteer, it just was so amazing, especially when you used to meet on almost periodically every month or twice a month, talking about issues of relevance to the management, businesses, and technical issues. So throughout the years, I personally learned a lot, a great deal, at least from interacting with these great people that you're seeing on the stage, and of course all of you. And even when attending these perfect seminars that we used to organize, and we get a lot of people from the local market, locally and regionally and internationally, where you get exposed to many viewpoints about latest in technologies everywhere else. So then years went by, and then in 2014, I believe, when we witnessed some sort of a decline in terms of financial issues related to the chapter. But with all that difficulty, I can tell you, now these people are the winners. They are really winners. And especially Dr. Ahmad, later on I met Mr. Lijo, they really paid from their own pocket to make sure that the chapter survives. They did a lot of work in the background, and they made a lot of dedications. They many times even volunteer, even the evening, morning, without anybody knowing that or noticing that, to make sure that Falcon Chapter continues in its success. Now, of course, on the table there, I had the pleasure to meet these outstanding and gentlemen, Mr. Basil and Mr. Ahmad Samir Trabulsi, and of course on this table in here. I enjoyed meeting all of them. I learned a great deal from each and every one of them. Today, yes, physically we are not with the chapter because we get busy elsewhere, but my heart's always with the chapter, and I wish the best success to all of them. It is very challenging, very rewarding to be part of this very important organization. I thank you all, God bless you all, and thank you very much for inviting me today.
Thank you. Well, I don't think I have anything else left to say after 10 presidents before me, so I'll just tell you, give you a personal, I would say, experience with ASHRAE, which is I'm grateful for. I started as a PhD student with ASHRAE. Right immediately when I finished my PhD, I actually went back to ASHRAE annual meeting, and I joined the technical committee. Okay, so next year I became a secretary of that technical committee. So 2 years down the road I became the chair. So quickly I started growing in ASHRAE. And I was chairing people in a room filled with experience, and I was this rookie graduate from a PhD program, having no clue about the HVAC industry, right? But that was an opportunity for me to grow and sharpen my skills. After my first meeting, so usually those meetings used to go for 3 hours, and my first meeting went on for 1 hour and 10 minutes, okay? All the committee members came to me and said, well done, I think this is the right time to finish the meeting, 1 hour, 10 minutes. So this is the first time we had a short meeting for a long time. So I liked that, and I kept that as a role, for me. When I joined the Falcon chapter, when I became president, that's one thing I actually stick to, because that's what I learned from ASHRAE. Another moral, another slogan that ASHRAE has, says a slogan that I keep close to my heart and I still practice, is don't seek the position, let the position seek you. I think this is sort of the slogan. I don't know if it's correct or not, but this is what it means. Because of this experience with ASHRAE, I got to grow in my profession, which is I'm an academician. Today, I'm the Vice Chancellor of Emirates College for Advanced Education, and this is 10 years after I graduated from my PhD, which is a very short period of time for an academician to get to the stage. And I actually thank ASHRAE for giving me the opportunity to be who I am today and to get to where I am today. It's because of these opportunities that ASHRAE has provided me and for me to learn. I was a very shy person, you know, before joining ASHRAE. And after that, you know, I actually excelled, and I can speak freely. I did not prepare anything. I didn't know I had to speak anyway. But this is something also I learned from ASHRAE. Thank you, ASHRAE, and there are other opportunities for everybody here in the room. If you're not a member, if you're not part of the BOG, join the team. I think you will gain more than what you would lose. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, Raju, and thank to the Falcon Chapter, which has invited me as a guest here, and I'm really very thankful, and I don't want to speak much more, because I'm really proud to be sitting again with all the stalwarts of the industry here in Falcon, and I would only like to say thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, he is the president-elect, which means he takes on. I stepped down in end of June, and from July, he is the president. I'm really, really happy that, you know, he's much more a better person than me. He's much more technical, knowledgeable person than me. So ASHRAE will grow into higher heights because it is getting into a more able person's hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liju. This is speech number 25 of the evening and the last one. So bear with me I actually wrote something, so I have to say it. Just took the time to prepare that. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all of you for taking time off to attend this event. I'm going to talk about construction a little bit, because this is the purpose that ASHRAE was there, actually. And if you remember, in 1975, when the oil embargo happened in the US, this was when they started thinking about energy efficiency. And the theme since then for ASHRAE was energy efficiency and sustainability. So construction greatly contributes to the economic and social development of the UAE. At the same time, it enhances both our standard of living and quality of life. However, construction activities have many environmental implications, namely the HVAC systems that we have in our buildings. And in a hot and humid climate like the UAE, it results in increased energy consumption associated mainly with the need of mechanical cooling that creates extensive demand on our energy grid. A friend actually told me, from Eurovan, told me, this country runs on air conditioning, we should actually have a ministry for air conditioning. Sustainability has become a very important aspect of the UAE leadership vision, and I thought maybe we should talk about the UAE vision and what they're targeting for the near future. So we have targets of 30% savings across the UAE in terms of energy and water, and a power grid relying mainly on renewables by 2050. And our role as ASHRAE members is to help in achieving this vision. And that's what the ASHRAE Falcon Chapter has been doing for the last 15 years. This chapter has helped in transferring technology knowledge to all stakeholders, communicated with governmental entities, to adopt standards and guidelines that will help in attaining the vision, and created a platform where engineers, architects, owners, governmental entities can share and exchange ideas. Now, before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our team that helped in organizing this event. I also want to send special thanks for the tremendous effort that the translation team has put into translating some of the ASHRAE standards into Arabic. This exercise was spearheaded by my friend Usama Khayata with the help of Muhammad Hamedi and Muhammad Halimi from the Saudi chapter, under the guidance of Dr. Ahmad Ala. This was a great achievement for the Falcon chapter, and we're actually preparing more standards to be translated. Finally, I want to thank Karen, because I personally asked her to be the MC for the night, and she actually accepted. That was, I think, a great decision to be made. Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you to all our past presidents, and thank you all for attending the event, and hopefully we'll see you in future ASHRAE events. Thank you very much.